broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers! That was an awesome entrance. I'm so glad we chose that song. Welcome to another UnREAL After Show. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, rate, review, subscribe. We love hearing from you. We also love hearing from you on Podcast One, sending us tweets, all of that. But Podcast One is actually one of the best ways to get to us. And it'll only take about 3 minutes to take the survey. And just let us know what you think about the show, what you like, what you don't like. And we read all of it. So we really, really appreciate it. Again, that's podcastone.com. Again, I'm your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter at SamD43 during the show. I have some awesome co-hosts here with me tonight. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
What's going on, guys? Bobby DeMuro.
And it's Aja Monet at Aja Seldon. Sorry, my headphones.
What's going on, guys? I'm Nicholas Grava. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nicholas Grava.
Yes, and tweet us, at AfterBuzz TV, at our Twitter, especially for this show, because we really like talking about it.
This is an active group, actually. When I do send out a tweet about the show, it seems like they like to chat about it, so I do love reading those tweets, and I do read all of them.
And the YouTube comments, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we love your thoughts. We love kind of everything you say, even the bad stuff. There are some, people that don't agree with our opinions, but that is okay, because that's what this show is all about. It's like fighting and arguing. And I'm sorry I didn't mention this already. This is season 1, episode 4 of UnREAL, and it was a pretty awesome one, if I do say so myself.
I feel like it's going by really fast. When I was watching today and I saw episode 4, I'm like, no, I think it's 3 I'm on, and I was like, oh wait, we are already on episode 4 right now. I feel like the whole season's going real fast.
What do you guys think about how it's going so far?
I don't think anything's changed from last week in terms of how we think about it. I still like it. Yeah.
I still like it, and I kind of got those plot twists that I was looking for, so it was really good to kind of see that this episode, because I know that was one of my things.
That's interesting that you say that, because I kind of feel like a little bit on the opposite, where I didn't get where I thought they were going to go in like this psychological thriller way. I didn't really get much of that. I just got sort of more drama, which is good.
That was good for me. I'm all about drama. So they won me over with that one.
Yeah. You liked it. I loved it. I kind of agree with both of you guys that this show can go so many different ways. Right. And, I think it's going to go every which way every week. There's just a lot of ground to cover. But let's talk about the most important ground. I mean, it's basically what the show is about, which is Adam.
Mm-hmm.
He literally has, 4 storylines this episode.
Yeah.
Just an intense storyline with every single main character.
Which I knew when they started doing the review, showing what we had seen previously, and they really were cutting back to episode 1 and episode 2, and we were seeing the first contract negotiation, so I knew all of that was going to be coming up in this episode. I thought it was, I liked, out of all 4, I did like this episode a lot, and I liked his storylines. I liked that we finally got to see the vineyard and see not what I was expecting whatsoever. For his grand.
Kind of got back to the root of why he was there. His main priority was to try to get an investor for the vineyard. So it was kind of good to kind of bring us back to square one, to kind of.
And it's exposition, it's backstory that we need, and we get a little bit of it each week. And this is just another example of that with him. We get the backstory of the vineyard. It's not what you think, but we know why he's here, and we start to know a little bit more about his dad and his family. And we start to know, to be honest, let's be brutal and throw shade, that he's incompetent, that he does not have a business reputation like his dad has. Right. He does not have a professional reputation like that, and he's desperate. And that's going to play in here, whether it's love or whatever the relationship turns out to be.
Desperate.
Yeah, we also find out about his past relationships, which we kind of did last week. You know, the tabloids have eaten up his, you know, sexting his ex, that apparently, like, it was a very public breakup, dumped him, and so it's on the covers of magazines. And the one magazine, I forget what it's called. It's a really...
Starcatcher.
Yes, Starcatcher. I was like, that's kind of cool.
I wonder what that's based on.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And Rachel's very pissed. And she basically plants the magazine, though, for the girls to see.
I wrote in my notes as I was watching it, when the girl picked up the magazine in the recycle bin, I go, why did she have to throw it out there? Like, couldn't they get more creative? And then I figured out that it was her plot, and I was like, oh, I really fell into that one.
I was not paying attention to it, but I really did not get that. Like, when I saw Athena pick it up, I'm like, oh my God, this girl's going to go run with this story. And, of course, she made it a big thing, as I expected. But I didn't know Rachel had did that intentionally. I'm like, I thought she just threw it away and was like, okay, going about my business.
I expected her to do that intentionally. When she did it, I was like, we know exactly what this is. You put it in there, and if nobody finds it, nobody finds it, and you find another way. But she's going to take care of things the way she has to. And for as many faults as Rachel has, and she's got a lot of faults, one fault she does not have is production.
True.
She knows what she's doing, and she knows how to manipulate these girls. So every time, it's going to be intentional. The one day, and this is what to look for going forward, it's not a prediction, although we could predict it later. The one time she messes up on camera, when she messes up with a girl, when a girl doesn't do what she wants them to do, when Adam doesn't do what he wants her to do, that will be the day that something huge is going to happen, that something's going to shift, because that's the deviation from the norm. We're still in the norm.
Right, and I think we kind of got that with her in the Adam situation, but she just simply hit the delete button. But I think we're going to see that come back into play, but that was an instance in where she wasn't playing her cards right, and she was the one caught on camera.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's such an important part of this episode is the Rachel and Adam of it all. And, like, I want to get there towards the end because it's so important. But it's also important to recognize, though, like, who Adam is, where he's from, and this vineyard situation. He basically coerces the production of the show to pay $10,000 to, you know, redo this whole vineyard. Right. And they have a group date, which we've said this, and obviously it's so Bachelor, but like I literally watched The Bachelor and Bachelorette right before I watched this show, and it's really, I'm sure a lot of you guys do that.
I actually, for the first time ever, watched The Bachelorette last night with my sister.
And you tweeted about it.
I did live tweet about it. I couldn't stop thinking about, because I was introduced to UnREAL first, technically, so like I could not stop making these connections. And my sister's sitting there, and I'm like, nah, that's fake. The producer probably went up, and at one point one of the guys went over and was talking to the producer. Did you see that? In the actual show, he went said, he was like, you're the only one I trust, man. I just got to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, you should watch UnREAL, because you don't know.
That's being played. That's cool to think about, watching this and then watching The Bachelor or Bachelorette. That's very fascinating. Guys, let us know if any of you have done that or are doing that right now with this show, because if you don't watch it, The Bachelor or Bachelorette, and you watch this, you probably should start, because you're going to start noticing a lot of things.
And I just have to put out there, I thought the date idea was so cute about them doing, like, creating their own wines and stuff like that. I would have been over the moon with that. I thought it was cute.
I loved which girl was it that was like, just all tastes like sour grape juice?
Oh, that was Faith.
Girl.
Was that Faith?
Girl.
Yeah.
I mean, my girl.
I was like, I feel you, Faith. I mean, it could be $2 Chuck or, you know, a $50 bottle of wine. I can't tell
that.
the
And I told you she was coming back. Here she was.
That's
your girl.
Well, girl. So we have Faith, Mary, Maya, and Athena, yes, is the fourth girl on the group date. Rachel tells Adam that he needs to kiss someone, basically for her redoing the winery. You got to make out with a girl on a date and make out with her in front of the other girls. So he chooses Mary. Poor Mary, who is like a battered wife with children who doesn't even drink, and he just makes out with her.
I mean, he chose the right one to use. I will definitely say that. I mean, all of the women would have did that, but I saw him definitely gravitate towards one of the weakest. And that was Mary. I mean, she is pretty weak. I mean, let's keep it real.
You think she is?
You guys are being unreal right now.
No.
You're being real unreal right now.
I don't know that I haven't really seen any of them that...
She just seems very vulnerable to me, like just very...
They all seem vulnerable. That's why they're all being played, don't you think? Yeah, I guess that's true.
She wears it more so than others, so I would have gravitated towards her too.
I don't know. I kind of think that she is going to figure all this out and be like, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm older than all of these girls.
She seems like the one to put it together.
Like, I am knowledgeable here. I'm not a 25-year-old idiot. You know, what is she? I mean, like, how old do we think she is?
I'm not good at guessing ages.
40. I mean, she looks great. I don't know.
I'm not going to go there.
Mid-40s, I'm going to guess.
Mid-40s? I don't know. I mean, so she's obviously older than the other girls. Okay, so Adam and her make out.
Wait, can I say, we already kind of skipped this, but just the one line I did love. Jeremy was like, I thought you were producing him. That's why I was there filming when they were in their little moment. And I like, for some reason, like that line of hearing you producing him, and I'm like, they think it's just a conversation, but no, that's what it is, and that's why he was recording.
Yeah, exactly. I think, the Jeremy of it all, we're going to really get into that, especially next week because he's going to be here. Sorry to spoil it, but
it's exciting.
Josh Kelly, the actor, is going to be here.
Look my best.
Yeah, you guys really should. I actually interviewed him for a website that I write for on the phone, and I was just like, I just have to ask, how does it feel to have like your naked body plastered all over Los Angeles? And he was like in the car on speakerphone with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like, I love it. Like they were adorable. He is awesome. I'm thrilled to have him next week. I'm sure all of you guys are too. But let's get into kind of Rachel and Jeremy a little bit.
Before we do that, real quick for you guys at home, you know that we give you guys a ton of free content literally every week on this show, and every show AfterBuzz does hundreds of shows. And there's a lot of ways you guys can support us. We've told you a lot about them over the last, literally 4 or 5 years, depending on how long you've been with us. One of the ways you can support us is by supporting our sponsors. One of those is Mazda. Now, does driving matter to you? There are over 4 million miles of road in the U.S. to find out, and that is a lot of ground to cover. A lot of highways, freeways, wrong ways, and long ways, and they are all there waiting to be driven on. So, do you take that left turn at Albuquerque, or do you just keep going? Do you wake up early Sunday morning for a drive before the traffic does, or do you take the long, winding road home for a change? If driving matters to you, just get out and drive. Why? Well, because driving matters. Mazda. We would love if you guys supported them because they support us and they do a lot of great things for us, keeping the lights on here, planting
seeds. Very obviously, they have since episode 1, and the fact that he's on the billboards, Josh Kelly, but at the same time, his character hasn't gotten as much screen time nearly as the others.
Right. You're definitely getting ready to see him play a different role. I kind of see him being the one to actually catch the chemistry that's going on between Rachel and Adam. And I think he's the one that's going to kind of bring it to the forefront. You saw him kind of warn Rachel to kind of watch her back when it came to Adam, but I can definitely see him playing a major role in the upcoming episodes, as we know.
And there's a power struggle between Jeremy and Rachel now that he's the DP, she's producing, and has been Quinn's right-hand woman. We'll see if that continues with Rachel and Quinn. But there's going to be a power struggle between the two of them, especially since Rachel did not say anything to Quinn about Jeremy. Right. And he almost took that personally. I know he got the job anyways, and you could say, hey, dude, she meant to, she had good intentions, she got caught up, whatever the excuse was, he still took it badly. So look for the power struggle where once they were going to live and let live 2 episodes ago, I don't think anymore.
And 2, I feel like he just couldn't let that old thing go slightly because it was a little bit of him like, I thought you would have at least done that for me for the sake of what we had. Yeah. So it was like he kind of expected her to do that, but she said she would get around to it. She never guaranteed anything. So
I do like how he, like you said, in the pilot, he had, a handful of lines and wasn't really featured too much. And now he's popping up and has a great storyline. I think that changes up the show for me when people from the background just start stepping in. And it's happening with some of the girls, too.
And with Jay. It's happening with Jay.
Yes, exactly. Right, I love that because that changes the show. Every other show usually has their consistent 5 to 6 series regulars. We see them every week. This is fun to me. This is exciting because I don't know who's going to come from the back burner in another week.
And I was actually thinking about this today. Like, I guarantee there will be a season 2. This show is taken off hugely. So they're going to keep, the 5 central characters and then all the other people that are quote-unquote series regulars right now on IMDb or, whatever it is that you look up, like the girls and Adam are next season. It's like they are the only thing that would make sense would be for them to just be gone.
Right. A lot of shows are doing that, though, now, like changing the majority of their cast. I mean, this is a little bit different because a lot of the other characters will still have the same role, but True Detective, American Horror Story. I feel like there's a few others too that keep doing that.
Each one becomes its own miniseries, but
Right.
that's the beauty of the show. We talked about it last week. It's the Gilligan's Island thing. You can bring in Roger like they did last week, and they'll bring in somebody new next week, and they'll bring in somebody the week after that. But then you can bring in a whole new cast, a new set of girls, or if they do a Bachelorette spoof next year, a new set of guys. And then all of a sudden you've got 15 people, give or take, to choose from. And then, don't kid yourselves. The writers, as they go through the season, they write out those story arcs. But stuff changes as they're filming, and they say, you know what? I like her story arc over hers, whatever's going on. And they're playing this by ear, too. Obviously, months in the past when they produced it. But they're playing it by ear just as much as we're watching it by ear.
Absolutely. And I also feel like all of our responses, the audience responses right now, is probably helping develop the storyline. Like, if there's a girl that, he sends her home, whatever, in a few weeks, but everyone loves her, she might somehow come back. So, we'll see about that. Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty, literally, of this episode, which starts with the vineyard and then with the investor situation. Which is basically why Adam had to sell his quote-unquote soul. I don't know.
He sold more than that.
Yeah. He's
manhood.
Soul. Oh, yeah. He sold his body.
Is that... I'm sorry, but that's not a problem for him. What does he care? He hasn't shown to be of high moral, point anyways.
I just think moral point or not, but
listen,
you're
man,
getting in bed and doing that for a partnership.
Some people are into what you're into. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do for the money. And we know he's desperate, and we know nobody respects him, so he's got to do what he's got to do.
Well, if that's the case, I could have bought the piece of property. I mean, he was having sex with this woman in front of her quote-unquote husband and Chet, and it looked like they enjoyed it. It was just a weird situation.
So,
I know some people
let's start with the beginning, okay? So they, Rachel asks a favor of Chet, which is where this all really happens, to have Chet talk to his...
What's that?
What do you think that is?
I thought that meant cocaine, but then I'm like, what? Maybe that just means partner.
I know, or secret. I actually...
That means get me cocaine. That's how she's supposed to repay him.
Chet should never go to you.
What does that mean?
It's like the worst, deep most in the stereotypical... Some of the things I really like to show, some of the things they do are very stereotypical, and I think production folks doing drugs, specifically cocaine, is a little stereotypical. I know it happens, but come on. It's a little over the top. Doing that's a little too much. It is.
Yeah.
I thought that was howdy, partner.
I think it just shows he's just he's the drug guy. I think it's not to get into predictions, but it might kill him,
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to really etch that into our brains. He was a drug addict. He is a drug addict. And then perhaps, kill him.
I feel like the hospital last week got me, not this. Hospital last week told me he's got a problem.
Yes.
What did he say when he was asking for weed? He was like, nah, it's just a valve. I'll pass out, but I'm not dying or anything. Because the kid was like, I don't know if you're in such good health.
And they're still in California. It's not hard to get weed.
Oh, yes. I also
on every corner.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. So, Adam's investors that come do not want to do business with him unless it's with his father. That's the only reason they came, and Adam wants nothing to do with his family's money. So, he's in a bit of a pickle, and, Chet's politician... Am I right when I say that it was Chet's politician guy that turned the water on? Is this is the same one that invested with his wife? And the what are they calling it? The everlasting
resort and spa.
Resort and spa, which is genius. I mean, I probably would go.
Oh, that's a money maker, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Very Only smart. Thing everlasting in this episode was Adam. Hey-o.
Yeah, he did not. He did not stop. I mean,
he didn't. He kept going and going.
He really did. So there's this guy who plays the dad in Pretty Little Liars of one of the girls, and that was Brooke. That was Brooks. Is that his name? The politician guy.
Brooks was his wife, I thought.
No, Kelly is
Kelly's
his wife.
Okay, yeah.
Brooke. His name is Brooke. I'm sorry. And he plays a nice dad in this show, Pretty Little Liars, so it kind of threw me off. But he is not a super nice guy. He invests in the vineyard basically because he likes to have some fun, and his wife, Kelly, wanted to have sex with
I could
Adam.
tell Kelly's intentions since as soon as she met him.
Right.
She's like, I saw you got it, and I was so excited. Woohoo! And I'm like, Kelly, your husband's right there. She didn't care.
I knew right then that their situation was just a little different. The way that he was allowing his wife to kind of flirt with another guy in front of his face. That's when I was like, oh, something is not right between this is either the norm or this is just weird. So I just knew right there that was something.
Maybe I'm the weird guy. And this is weird, I agree with you, but I didn't get thrown by it at all. I was like, okay, that's just what these people are into. And I expected when he said there's one more thing, and when Brooks looked at Kelly and was like, one more thing or whatever, sex was one of the last things. I thought they were going to ask to launder money, to sell, an illegal cocaine operation on the vineyard, something weird. And when it was just sex, I was like, whatever, this is that end, who cares? I mean, maybe that's a product. Maybe that's a product of my experience. I'm not saying I do that. But the professional experience I've had, maybe that's a product where I come from, and it's weird. But I didn't see it's different. I didn't see a huge deal about it. I was like, okay, it's sex. Whatever.
You know what's interesting now that we're talking about it? I didn't think about this before, but if Adam was a woman, then that would kind of just be normal Hollywood
Stereotype
stuff, like women in Hollywood, they're have sex a lot of times to get their way, to get parts, to get.
I would argue that I don't know. I feel like guy, girl, it's happening either way. I feel.
Me too.
I mean, I think it's a stereotype that a lot of girls do, but I think with guys, I mean, I feel like that's happening out there.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I'd rather keep it private. I'm not ready to talk it. No, but I do think that it really is. I don't know. I think. What?
Well, I was going to say, it didn't feel to me like Adam was being taken advantage of. That's the thing. I never crossed that line.
He wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He made eye contact with Rachel. He wasn't like, oh, no, don't look at me. He was like, yeah, getting a deal done.
Yeah.
But usually when we hear about women sleeping their ways to the top, it's them wanting to do it too because they see some benefit from it. But I thought it was really cool how they added the male aspect to it because I'm with you too, Nick. I think some men sleep their way to the top too, just as what he did. He had no problem with bending her over.
We need a gif of Chet's face when he saw Rachel and he gave that He did
the thing again too. He did the nose swipe.
He did do that thing.
So how does that mean cocaine then? He's like, get me cocaine right at this moment?
He wants cocaine right then.
And it was like, don't forget.
That's what it was.
I thought it was just like, hello.
That's what I thought.
No.
Good day.
See, me and Bobby are on the same accord.
I mean, it didn't make sense, but.
All this guy wants, man, is snow. That's it. He don't want to say hi to anybody.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that this was kind of a big point for this show because this is on Lifetime. Lifetime has never done a show like this, ever. And this part, specifically, when Adam was having sex with the wife, Kelly, was HBO status. I mean, it was a lot for Lifetime. And that, for me, was just like telling the audience, this is not going to be a show about love, guys. Get it through your heads. Just because this is about a show about love, it's not about love.
Love, sex, and drugs.
Yeah. Just maybe sex and drugs.
No,
Somebody's falling for somebody.
Well,
Rachel. Rachel.
Rachel, let's get to Rachel and Adam because I think that is like the underlying kind of what they've been sending us very little just tidbits of it, and it keeps on growing, and you're like, wait, no, they're not going to go that way. But
Until
they are.
I feel like this episode was the one that confirmed it. For me, at least. I was like, are you serious? Why? Okay, we can start from the first thing that I think when she was when he leans down, he kisses her, and she has this little eye flutter. She also revisits that scene on the computer and slows it down to show she had the realization oh my god, I do have feelings for him.
I interpreted that a little bit differently. That's interesting.
Well, let me hear what you thought.
I thought she at that point was still producing him and wasn't into him and was trying to manipulate him, and he kissed her and she was like, okay, well, I'm good, I'm glad because I've got him in my back pocket. Not, oh my god, I'm falling in love with him.
Good, I'm glad I got him in my back pocket is mwah, cool, done. But
she didn't kiss him back?
No, but did you see her face? She fluttered her eyes.
I was with Bobby at that point. I thought that was a little bit of affirmation for her. Yeah, I kind of got him right where I want him. But then as the story progressed, we see that it wasn't the case. Is the situation with her getting drunk. It seemed like after she walked in on Adam having sex with Kelly. That's when I'm like, oh, this girl is catching feelings. And then when she allowed the investors to come onto set, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, you're thinking with your clip this time.
Or I understand that. Or I think you can also make a case that she feels empathy for him. And there could be love too, but I think she feels empathy for him because she realizes how bad his situation is. She walked in with those investors literally saying, dude, get your dad. Nobody's going to take you seriously. And I think she felt terrible about that. Now, it could be because she cares about him to love him him to that level, and so maybe that's it. But I think she felt bad for this guy, and that's part of why she says, I want to help him. I like him. Maybe it's love, maybe it's not, but I want to help this person.
Okay, but we've seen her feel empathy for a lot of other characters,
Right.
and she never acted on it like she's acted on it with Adam, which is the only reason I think, okay, then there's also love. Like, even when she was selling the investors, before we Adam, she was like pitching them over at like Hollywood where they were watching the screens and everything, and I'm like, why is she being so helpful? Oh wait, she's in love.
Well, but she also needed something back from him.
She was getting it nonetheless.
She wanted to do her job. That's the thing.
She already had the kiss. They were already filming. It was already constructed. What else did she have?
Then when I saw her drinking the bottle, drinking the alcohol, that's when I'm like, okay, you got feelings involved. Because usually when you're trying to get over something or you found out your man was doing something he wasn't supposed to do, that's when you're like, okay, I just need to kind of take my mind off of things. And then too, when Quinn kind of told her that you're thinking with your clique kind of thing, that's when I'm kind of like, Quinn sees a lot of herself, Quinn, and Rachel. And that's what I kind of got too. Quinn is kind of warning her because that could have been the scenario with her and Chet.
And that's the parallel. Quinn is doing that, or has been doing that with Chet.
Yeah.
Well,
and Jeremy said it too. Protect yourself with him. And she was like, what do you mean? And he was like, oh.
Mixing business with pleasure.
Well, I have two things to say. Is that first, we still don't know what happened exactly with Rachel last season. And I think knowing that would help greatly. Secondly, she doesn't need to be in love to like be, in lust with Adam. Like, I think that she's not in love with Adam. She has a thing for him, but she loves Jeremy. And they keep on putting him in, for a reason. Like, does she love Adam? Adam is disgusting.
No, I think you're right. I think I'm using love pretty interchangeably with lust, but I don't feel as a viewer her and Jeremy's relation or bond, I don't see their connection as much. Maybe it's written in and it's just not coming off to me. I see more of her and Adam's chemistry. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Well, her and Adam are oil and vinegar, so that's why you want to see that. Her and Jeremy are oil and vinegar because of their history, because of their past that we're starting to piece together. Her and Adam are oil and vinegar because that's the way they are. And so you want to see them clash because every time they clash, they respect each other a little bit more after it. Isn't that the point? The shower and all that kind of stuff. It's this goofy playing back and forth. And so every time they do it, you're like, oh, they're a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And then one day, maybe that closeness will totally cross the line. But even today, this episode, it was just one of those games. They get a little bit closer. Neither one's ready to budge yet. Adam's budged a little bit more than her. He's the one leaning in for the kiss in front of people when there's people around the corner. And maybe she budges next week. So,
yeah. But speaking of love, let's talk about this kind of sub-love story, which is...
Sub-love.
Oh, well, a love triangle, actually. Quinn and Chet and Bill.
Oh, Bill.
Oh, Bill. Every show that I watch Bill in, the actor who I cannot think of his name at the moment, he is either like a werewolf hunter or a witch hunter.
CW he was on. He was like a witch hunter, a werewolf hunter. Yeah.
Everything. But this time, he just is a normal guy that was in love with Quinn. And again, another love story that we're piecing together.
A love story, but also they have the bond and the connection of he feels that Chet stole their show. And that's, I think, that's what I originally felt. And then what did she say? She's like, I'm just here for a drink. I'm not here to be in like any kind of thing. And he pushed the topic of when he came on set with Chet and they had that interaction. Did you guys think when he said that was true? Chet did steal the show. The lookbook
I
really
definitely thought it was true. He looked like that type. He didn't have the brain power from what I saw.
the red flag is Chet, for all of his faults, and there are thousands, is always a kind of likable guy. He's goofy, he's funny, he cheats, he does drugs, he does all this stuff, but he's always nice, he's always kind of upbeat and funny. So every time I watch him, I'm like, oh, Chet, you crazy guy. And he got aggressive with Bill. Very aggressive, literally mean. I mean, literally got into a physical fight with him for 2 seconds there. That's not the Chet we've ever seen. So the fact that he came on so strong means either A, 100% he stole the show, or B, there's something else crazy going on that we will soon learn, because that's a specific choice for that actor to make and for the writers to say to do. There's a specific reason behind it. The most obvious reason is Chet's a thief. Everyone is gonna know it, and Chet is essentially admitting to it.
And the middleman in all of that is Quinn, because she at some point, at least that's what Bill implied, him and Quinn had some type of relation, and then as we know now, Quinn and Chet have some type of relation. So you kind of get to see who she gravitated towards. Yeah. He was once an alcoholic, Bill was, and then that may have been when she gravitated towards Chet. He's the new money man, the new cash cow, and so that's who she flocked to. Now he has this drug problem and has his wife. So now you see kind of Quinn gravitating back towards Bill, but we're gonna kind of see that play out in future episodes. But she was the middleman of all that. In all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like they even talked about it, that it was a love triangle situation. Chet said something to Bill along the lines of like, she chose me and you're a loser.
Yeah, you had one show, it got canceled, and you
Discovery
quit.
Channel. But it's very, I think this was a thing of the past, and they said something, it was like 8 to 10 years ago or something like that. I don't know, but I think that it definitely, I mean, Quinn has made it clear that she is done. I truly think that she wants to be done with Chet.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he say, I made you?
Uh-huh.
That one.
And she was like, no, and I'll show you that I made you, and then I'll leave.
I'd love to say she's done too, but we still see those architecture, those blueprints of that house in her office. She tossed them aside. She didn't throw them away. There's a reason we saw it for a second. There's a reason she didn't burn them. There's a reason they're still around. I think she's not quite done yet.
Right.
As much as she wants to be, she's still going to go back.
I agree. I don't think she's going anywhere.
But I think she kind of added a different element to the whole thing when she kind of put the script with her and Bill's name on it.
Yep.
So they are the rightful owners. So you kind of see her throw that blackmail component into the whole ringer.
Right.
So that's what we're going to kind of see. And then, too, speaking on, she never really threw away the blueprint. I mean, I do that, too. If I dated somebody, I'm not going to just delete their number.
They made me a house. I'm going to keep that.
Exactly. That's remembrance of what I could have had.
I do think her two things. First of all, if I was Bill, I would hate Quinn because maybe he doesn't know that she has this book, because he said if we had the lookbook, then we'd be able to. So it's like, whoa, first of all, that's messed up. Second of all, the fact that she has it, her name's on it, and she could have ownership on the show, but she isn't, shows how much she really cares about Chet, which I underestimated. I did not think it was this much.
And her thinking with her clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, but now she said she had no idea where the book was to Bill when they went out for drinks on their pseudo date, but she knew exactly where it was, and then she pulled it out, and this is her time. Like, she's gonna whip it out to the world, and she's gonna tell. I mean, I think that's kind of, she's trying to cut herself off from Chet, and I don't know. Like, I'm not sure, but I do think there's a lot of mirroring between Rachel and Quinn's characters.
Let's be honest, Quinn's using Bill as much as Chet used her, right?
Definitely.
I mean, come on.
He's just a piece in the pawn.
Yeah.
He's just a pawn in the game.
If she cared about him, she would have talked to him before X amount of months or years had passed. I mean, let's go.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What I like about Chet, though, and I'm actually really worried about his character, because he's a good comic relief, even though he's a...
You guys both think he's likable? I do not find any likability.
No, there's a distinction. There's a distinction between likable and likability, like traits that are likable.
Yeah.
His character, his affability, his personality, extremely likable. His actions, detestable. So when you mix those two, he's like, Chet.
I don't know. I don't even find the likability factor.
Really? Because he's
from his character. Like, that guy, I don't
That's
mind the
the
guy.
thing.
He's probably fine. But I'm just saying, like...
He's funny to watch, but if I was to encounter him, I would be like, this is not my
You
type
think he's...
of
What's
person
funny,
to kind
though?
of interact
I just
with.
find him, like,
I think
irritating.
he's just humorous to watch. I think he's pretty dumber than most. And some of the moves and some of the stuff he says is just so dumb. So that's why I kind of get the humorous aspect. But him as a person... I don't really...
Like, the scene of him in the limo, like, smoking weed and hooking up with these prostitutes, like, cool, but why? What did that do for our storyline?
I think all of Chet's scenes, or most of them, sort of establish this fact that he's the idiot with money.
Okay.
He got lucky. Whether he stole it or not might change the way we look at him long term. But he's the idiot with money who got lucky on a show. He's got all this money, and he has no clue what he's doing. And so part of that is frustrating. We're like, oh, God, this idiot, he needs Quinn, he needs Rachel. But part of it is like, oh, Chet, you silly man.
Well, he's living. Come on now. He's living the life many dream. or want, minus the drugs. But other than
ain't
that,
nothing about Chet that I'm dreaming.
Yeah,
he has the money that I wish I had was rolling.
the
I'll roll
money,
around
billions
in
of
limos
dollars.
too, you know?
Yeah.
It all matters how you get the money. If you cheated and lied to get the money, then it's not a life, I think. I don't know. Most people want to live. But Chet, I think, is a great word to encompass him as entertaining.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything to happen to him just because of that factor, because he kind of brings a lot of different characters together, which is kind of the last storyline we're going to touch upon is Jay and Chet.
Oh, yeah.
Because they put him in this episode kind of towards the end. I think he, along with Jeremy, are going to continue to be bigger parts of the show. And, you know, Jay has always been Chet's guy to get him weed, which, again, like, you know, guys, say, maybe, have they ever said, or they did say cocaine at the hospital. I'm like, why don't they just say cocaine? Maybe they can only say that a few times an episode. Because the whole weed, when they're like, weed, that just doesn't make sense to me.
California. Get a card.
You're a billionaire in California
costs like
and you're asking your
$40.
PA to get weed.
But getting him hookers is definitely something that he could be.
For a second, I thought those were contestants on the show. I was like, oh wait, actually, the host of the show was hooking up with one of the ex-contestants at the beginning, right? She was one that just got voted off.
Yeah, that was a weird
things I question if it happens on The Real Bachelor.
Oh, Chris Harrison would never.
Maybe not Chris Harrison, but someone in the crew.
I probably shouldn't have said that. But come on, he's Chris Harrison, you guys. Okay, so, you know, we basically end with Chet and Jay, and then, well, that was towards the middle, but, and that was just hilarious when the hooker was trying to give both of them, touch both of them at the same time, and we find out that Jay is gay. And
Jay is like, not today.
Yeah, Jay's just doing this to pitch his show to Chet.
Which is sad.
Yeah, Chet could not care less.
Let's call it something different than sad. Jay's an idiot. Chet doesn't care. Chet's never going to care.
But Jay's an idiot that I feel is like, there's a lot of those people in this real town that are like, put me in a limo with XYZ and I'm a pitch
There are
show.
tons of those people. And if Chet, if he likes your idea, he's going to take your idea. And I know Jay doesn't know he stole in the first one, but you got to know how this
Wouldn't that be a
stuff
fun
works.
storyline if he starts developing a show
That would be
exactly
good.
like the blended something, whatever he was
But
pitching?
that was expected. Jay seemed like an opportunist to me from when I first saw him, just wanting to get that one up, trying to get to the next level. He saw that as his opportunity. And as soon as I saw him in the limo, I'm like, of course, he's going to sell a story.
Yeah.
Well,
The family blender.
Which is also weird.
Corny.
Yeah.
but that works sometimes. I think, you know, and also there's blackmail, which
I was kind of proud of him to stand up and do that to Quinn when he was like, when he stood up and she was like, because she was arresting. No, she was not arresting him. She was firing him from her personal like reasons and her personal ego. Like, he was not doing anything wrong. He was editing a sign for Chet, who technically is his boss.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you're fired. Good for you. Stand up. I mean, he went around and started saying he would like sue them for different things, and that's a little bit shady. But still, if he was to just walk out and take the fight, I would be upset.
he's probably so fed up at this point, though. I don't blame him for, I mean, you know, Quinn tries to fire him because he did something for Chet, who is the creator of the show. Yeah. So, you know, pretty absurd.
Well, Quinn firing him is not about him. It's about Quinn and Chet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he may not realize that to an extent, but him standing up to it sort of knocks down the Quinn and Chet thing, at least probably in Quinn's mind, to say, whoa, I got to divide this Chet situation with professional life on the show. Because when they mix with stuff like this, I just got called on it, and even he may not know, Jay may not know why he's calling me on it. I still got called, and I got to lock it up.
Yeah.
And two, like we know, Jay was kind of covering his own tail, because it's kind of like if you and Chet, if Chet and Quinn were still screwing each other, she wouldn't have had no problem with him doing the Photoshop or whatever she was doing, he was doing for Chet. So that wouldn't have been an issue. And Jay did allude to the fact that he knew that they were messing around with each other. So I would have threw that up too. Like, you're not about to fire me or cut off my water because you're upset with Chet, a married man that you're screwing. So I would have threw that up too. And it was smart. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it showed that he's a real contender. Speaking of contenders.
And an opportunity.
Contender for what? Hey, speaking of contenders, guys, we have something really cool for you at home. We have something really cool for you guys on the panel. Nick, you specifically, I hear you like to dance.
Oh, I like to break it down.
We have something really cool coming up. You can now apply to Dance Battle America. It is ABC's newest competition special. Basically, it is from our very own founder here at AfterBuzz, current E-host Maria Menounos, also created by Julianne Hough. You guys might know her from something called Dancing with the Stars. ABC's doing a special. It is called Dance Battle America. Like I said, over the last 2 years, basically during the holidays, Maria started this dance competition. Julianne got involved. They had these dance battles. If you've been with AfterBuzz, if you've watched shows for the last few years, you've definitely seen this on YouTube and Instagram, and you've heard us talk about it on shows. All sorts of celebrities have been involved. Kate Hudson got involved. Amber Riley, Nick Grava, another celebrity who got involved with this.
Yep.
And people all over the country, all over the world have been doing these dance battles. So now they have turned this, they have flipped this, like Jay would flip his show idea to a competition special on ABC. And now you guys at home can enter to come to LA and dance in these competitions. You do not need to be a professional dancer. You just need to have, original moves of your own. It is dancebattleamericacasting.com. I was there the other day. There are 6 songs you can choose from. It includes Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. Oh. Easy song to dance to, even if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Were you breaking it down when you were looking at the site alone? Were you just...
No comment.
No?
I mean, it's easy to catch the rhythm on that.
Yeah.
Real life.
All you got to do is shake a little bit. You can put in moves. But you don't have to be a pro. I know Julianne Hough knows what she's doing. Maria's good at it by now. You guys don't have to do that. You just have to have fun. DanceBattleAmericaCasting.com to enter. You can also hashtag DanceBattleAmerica on Twitter. That is a social network. I've never heard of it. Something where you send messages. Who knows? But DanceBattleAmericaCasting.com. Okay. I think it's predictions time.
Awesome.
I just want to hit one thing I was thinking about. Well, you said this is a tiny little plot line. Sorry, Bobby, to, put you out of your way here. What about I forget, was it Athena that went up and was like, listen, I will be your inside man. Like, you keep me to Final Four, and I'll tell you what's going on.
Hey, shout out to Athena, the only girl, it seems like, who's playing the game.
Right.
Everybody else there, likes this guy. Athena's like...
Although
I know you're not going to pick me.
She wants that hair shop.
But what happened? She got kicked off.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm just saying.
But I do agree. I thought he was going to do it. I 100% was like, oh yeah, definitely. But then I was like, oh wait, he doesn't care about this.
Yeah, he doesn't care about any of the girls. It's not like, I love these two. Like, tell me what they say about me. Like, he loves Rachel, actually.
They actually still did her a favor, though, because like Rachel said, she'll get the spin-off show. She might get her own talk show. She'll appear on here. She'll be a social media
Maybe she'll be the Bachelorette next season.
Exactly. So she played her cards right. I probably would have done the same thing. A lot of people do it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to name any names, but
Final Four, I want to say. But you could get your own, little reality show. And it seemed like Rachel was weirdly proud of her, which was kind of hilarious.
Oh, she was, absolutely.
And she's the one to kind of spill all the beans. So of course, somebody's going to call her up. Wendy Williams, somebody.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh, that's new.
Yeah, I like that.
Kind of threw me
Short and simple.
You want to start us off now?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. I would like to say Rachel and Adam, they're gonna get hot and heavy. I can't wait for them to get hot.
Whoa, way to put all your chips in the middle of the table, Nick.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yes.
Whatever, I'm first. I can break it like I'm breaking news here. Yeah, they're going to do that. You heard it here first. Also, I don't want to see Jeremy and Rachel get together. I don't want to see that plot line. For some reason, I think it's distracting. I don't want to see that. Chet, I don't have anything to say about Chet, actually. Never mind. Not in a negative. Well, kind of, but I don't know.
Yeah, you hate Chet.
No,
I'm going to let you go because mine just kind of went from my brain really quickly.
All right. I am going to say that I think Chet might die. I know that's kind of dramatic, but I kind of think he might die. And then Quinn is somehow going to move into the creator of the show position, and Rachel is going to move into Quinn's position. And I think that Rachel and Adam are going to do it, and then Jeremy's going to walk in, and then Rachel's going to realize that she really loves Jeremy, and it's just going to be this whole thing. Are you writing fan fiction?
Because I don't know.
Yeah. No, you know what, you guys?
I love that.
I've had people say that to me during these after shows, but then guess who's right at the end of the season? This one over here.
Okay, well.
So,
pretty specific.
Whose team are you on?
Jeremy. I mean, why wouldn't we want to not see him and his fiance don't have too big of a thing. It's
Lizzie.
Liz, whatever. Lizzie. Yeah, Lizzie.
Now she's nameless.
Key makeup artist on Everlasting.
Yes, key makeup artist. So I think that's definitely going to fizzle.
Interesting. Bill's a red herring. He'll be around for 2 more episodes, then run along. We don't care about you. He's not part of the plot line. I think that the Kelly Brooks investment in Adam's vineyard will obviously backfire in one way or another for Adam, or other demands will come on, or something's going to happen. This isn't going to work out. He's going to get desperate. That is why he will need Rachel. They'll need to figure something else out together, and that is what will drive them closer. Because if Adam gets this vineyard, this is what he wants. If it's this easy, forget about it. There's no conflict. So the Kelly Brooks thing is going to fizzle.
I definitely but I definitely believe that footage that Rachel thought she deleted will resurface, as all of her bad behavior, bad things do seem to resurface. Also, the spa deal. I definitely feel that something is going to go wrong with that. And now that we have Quinn thrown into that whole aspect, that was her idea, given the fact that she is kind of one of the owners or the creators of the show. We can kind of see that going, her and Chet kind of battling that out. And so, yeah, that's what and the girlfriend. Adam's ex-fiance, whatever she is going to resurface. She's not going anywhere.
She's a fun character.
That's the ex-fiance. That's just not a girlfriend. He was going to marry that girl, so we will see her.
We've heard of her, I think, in every episode. So they owe it to us to see her. If we don't, that's an incredible letdown, and it doesn't make any sense. So we do need to see her soon.
Because I want to see what the hype is about. You know, what does she look like?
All right. Well, where can we find everyone on the interweb to follow us and talk about it this week? Because we love talking to you guys about it.
Yes, talk about it. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nicholas Grava.
And you can find Aja Monet at Aja M. Seldon.
I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro, Instagram at Mr. Bobby DeMuro.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, online at samdavidsonentertainment.com, and on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. We will see you guys next week.
See you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.